Uh, so I want to thank you guys for having undertaken a local area planning process, and I respect very much the work that Michael and others have done. You are at, it seems to me, a crux of everything that's happening in this city, and the reason I'm here is to kind of reflect back to the general perception among the populace that the future and the development of the city is being captured by an elite of power junkies and wealthaholics. And I don't mean you, but I mean people who really want to see the city as a different place than it is. And I think a different place than you want to see it. And when I say wealthaholics, it's something that's coming to the fore. It's people who actually suffer from a kind of addiction, which is really like any other kind of addiction. They can't get enough of it. When they have some of it, they can't stop. They have to get more. When they don't have it, they suffer. So in truth, they're in the same boat as many of the people that they spurn or look down on. We're all in the same boat, trying to negotiate our basic need for love and attention through the filters of terrible hormone-based traps that suck us into negative behaviors. But unlike harmless crack addicts like Rob Ford, the wealthaholics like Jimmy Pattison and Michael Geller have to have an effect on other people, and that's the main difference. Their addiction requires that they have a negative effect on other people. That's they do that by demonizing the people that they have an effect on. For example, in Arizona, a legislator named Carl Seal wants to pass a law that would make it illegal for undocumented people to use public facilities such as roads, sidewalks, and public toilets. In Russia and other places, now it's gay people that are demons. In Vancouver, it seems that the greatest rancor is reserved for people who are poor or badly dressed, or people who have obvious, visible addictions, unlike the people in Shaughnessy who are addicted to prescription drugs. Middle-class kids are taught to fear the downtown Eastside and its residents. It's seen as a source of disease, crime, chaos, misery, much like the Roma people are described in Hungary or black people were regarded in the southern U.S. And in truth, Vancouver has historically dumped unwanted people in the downtown Eastside. After the closing of Riverview and the subsequent failure on the part of the provincial government to create the community supports they had promised, police would regularly pick up people who had been in Riverview and dump them in the downtown Eastside, telling them that this is where they belonged. I knew some of those people. And the downtown Eastside thus became Vancouver's guilty conscience. And the odd thing about treating people this way is that some of them begin to mirror the behavior you lay at them. Their own confidence is shattered, their employability fails, their interpersonal relationships fall apart, they become a relatively large expense for the social mechanisms which still exist, like jails, hospitals, emergency rooms, and detox centers. But to the wealthaholics and the power junkies, that's a price worth paying because you can still extract a little more misery from them by threatening to take away even those supports and the ultimate support, which is a place to live or a neighborhood to be in. And I think that's what's going on right now. And the perception is that the power junkies and the wealthaholics want to move in and basically evict the present residents of the downtown Eastside from where they are and change it into the ultimate space. And it's not just a matter of changing that space into something that's good for them or that they can make money off. I believe that there's an actual element for them of the pleasure in creating those conditions for people of misery. And that's lamentable. But I think it's what you see yourself faced with when you look at the pressure from people to come in and build condos instead of social housing. And I feel deeply for the dilemma you're in because you're in a situation of politics. You're politicians. You have to look at where your funding is coming from. You have to look at, where your future lies in terms of these powerful people who are running this city. At the same time, you're looking at the voices of the people who are likely to suffer the effects most seriously of these policies. And so I sincerely hope that you'll listen to the voices from the downtown Eastside, accede to their requests for reasonable accommodation. And I understand the difficulties that staff has put forward in terms of, the minimum levels of welfare rate housing among the 60% that's proposed. It's a situation that you can't leave alone. If you have to make those recommendations to senior government, make them. If you have to find an end run around that situation, please make it, because people, above all, need housing, and that will create the impression on the public, unlike what's happening right now, that your allegiance is to the people who are trying to survive and not to the people who are feeding their own addiction. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peach.